huge hole left in the jigsaw puzzle. But this attitude would change thanks to an unexpected result off the California coast. Bert Richter was leading a team at sea, working on the newest $6 million toy. The tunnel looped 80 meters in diameter. This is a very expensive tunnel. Electrons and their antimatter equivalents are rammed together at high speeds in the hope that they will explode into new particles. As is typical in physics, when a breakthrough is made, everyone assumed that something must be broken, because they weren't even looking for the particle. There it was, flashing into existence for just 7 seconds, with an energy of 3 billion electron volts. This wasn't evidence of the up, down, or even string quark. This was something new. This was a fourth. Specifically, a fourth quark appearing in tandem with its antimatter equivalent before they annihilate each other. Now, a fourth quark had been proposed before, but never seen in the wild. If this truly was the fourth quark, charm, like it's now called, the Band-Aid had come off. They had just found the missing jigsaw. Richter had wanted to name the hybrid particle SP after the accelerator that he discovered, but his co-workers really didn't like that. So instead, he asked a Greek colleague which Greek letters were still available. Iota was free, but he opted against it since iota is a synonym for insignificant and it seemed a little counterintuitive. So in the end, he settled on psi. Later, they would observe the path the particle took using a spark chamber. A spark chamber is a stack of high voltage metal plates filled with helium. When a high energy particle passes through it, the gas ionizes, leaving a visible trail of sparks. And somehow, the spark trail was the exact same shape as the letter psi. Now, this fact on its own is crazy, that a particle was named and then very soon after resembled the shape of its name. But this wasn't a coincidence. That exact same line on the opposite side of the country, a group is working at Brookhaven National Laboratory in Long Island. Leading the team was Samuel Ting. Their own collider, larger and more powerful AGS, they stumbled on the exact same charmed anti-particle particle. Ting called the particle J. As the story goes, he chose J because it's remarkably similar to the Chinese character Zhong. Other stories behind the name have cropped up over the years. I have a personal favorite story that J is the first one of his daughter. On the 11th of November, Ting flew to Stanford for unrelated reasons just happened to cross paths with Richter. When both men excitedly told the other about the recent breakthrough, they soon realized that they were talking about the same thing. Later that same day, they jointly made the announcement of the discovery of J/psi. It's astounding that such an important discovery was made independently within such a short period of time. For this reason, J/psi is the only subatomic particle that is two officially named. But we don't call it the November Revolution because we call it that because it pointed the whole field in a specific direction, kicking off a decade of discoveries. That same year, Gene Ilioopoulos would compile what is now widely understood to be the first ever edition of the Standard Model of Physics. At this point, it's an even larger jigsaw puzzle, still missing some critical pieces. And you know how jigsaws are. Even if a piece is missing, it's still kind of infer. Maybe you recognize some of the names. This outer ring we call the fermions, aka the matter particles. The top half is the family of quarks. Note that you'll never find one of these on their own, only in larger combinations called hadrons. Only 3 years after the discovery of charm, the first evidence of an even heavier fifth quark was found. This new one was named the bottom quark. What this suggested was that there is a sixth partner quark also out there. Wait, must search for the massive but elusive top quark. Gotta tell ya, one hell of a thing. On the other side here we have the leptons. Unlike quarks, you can actually find these alone if you want. They consist of the electron, you may recognize from their strange tip, electricity. Less well known are its big sibling muon, and even more recently, even bigger sibling tau. Each of these three have their own corresponding pets, the neutrinos. One of them is still just implied, but we're pretty sure it's that way. Moving on inward, we have another class of particles, bosons. If fermions make up matter because they're firm, then the bosons make up the four fundamental forces. The photon you've probably heard of, responsible for all light and wavelengths. Thank Einstein. At the tail end of the 1970s, gluon had popped up in experiments. It's responsible for gluing together quarks to make protons and neutrons. The other two here are still missing matter. You have the W and Z bosons, which supposedly control radiation. Their existence was so certain, though, theoretical work suggesting them had already won. And that's about all there is. That's the standard model of physics. Well, okay, no, not technically. There were those who proposed another boson, one that would tie all the other particles together. This field would supposedly explain the origin of mass. At this point in time, it wasn't so widely accepted, and thus its time in the spotlight would come much later. So, as the 1970s gave way to the 1980s, this was the state of this model, and most of it. But something was becoming clear. To make further progress, find those missing pieces, technology needed to catch up. The heavier the particle, the higher the energy needed to produce it. We needed bigger accelerators. In those 14 years after their first joint announcement, Bert and Richter assembled a team to reunite. Not for the first time. They had, after all, jointly accepted a Nobel Prize. And yet, despite the prestige of the Nobel ceremony, this occasion was no less monumental. A few feet away from me, the announcement is being made for what will be the largest scientific undertaking in United States history. It would be the particle physics equivalent of landing on the moon. Their mission was to find the Holy Grail. And Ronald Reagan is all of it.
Outer space used to be called the final frontier. But today we've begun to tap another frontier, inner space, whose infinitesimal constellations hold out infinite possibilities. I know that some people may question the practical applications of the superconducting supercollider, but the truth is, the practical applications of this knowledge are already changing the way we live. In the face of ever-increasing global competition, the United States must maintain the leading edge in science and technology, and building the world's largest particle accelerator is a visible symbol of our nation's determination to stay out front.
Within 5 years, the project will completely with it, Bert and Richter would go on to call the project one of high energy physicists are mourning now. This story has a lot of things. What it doesn't have is a happy. This was a failure so big, so massive in scope, that it's hard to Instead, I think it's better if I
ご助力を深海のカゴ